Welcome back to Persona 5 Royal in Shido's palace, and at the very end of last time I realized, in between saving footage, that I derped. So I fused Trumpeter last time, and I just realized that if I had, done a sacrifice on White Rider, he would have got Ailment Boost, which would have buffed both Dazzler and Abysmal Surge. And Ailment Boost is a pretty rare skill. You can only get its skill card through fusion accidents. So, yeah, I may actually have to remake Trumpeter the next time there's an alarm, but, oh well. So this time, we're going to be heading into the entertainment hall, and for that, I'm going to want a party of Ryuji, Yusuke, and Haru. Now, weirdly, this is exactly the same party I used for the last mini-boss, but this mini-boss, several of the enemies in this fight are weak to ice and electricity. And I've got Haru here for other reasons.
Okay.
Let's move out. And it looks like the enemies here are gone since I beat them last time. Nothing else on the deck, well, apart from this Daruma. Apparently, politicians do use Daruma dolls for good luck in Japan during elections, but I only have the SMT Wiki's word on that. Extremely vulgar man. I feel like that makes more sense in Japanese if he's talking in incredibly rude speech. Because they do kind of try and convey it like this. This kind of like rough language in Japan, I feel like is sort of the closest thing they have to swearing. So I feel like maybe he should have sworn more in the English translation.
Come on, man.
It means we're walking the plank. At least Joker initiated the fight this time. But okay, yeah, this is this thing that I thought that appeared earlier, and I realized that, yeah, no, it only appears in the mini-boss, and the mini-boss was now.
The opponent is strong. Don't do anything reckless.
This is the Heretic Goats, but we've already fought this thing as Shadow Fukurai. Here, though, it's totally different. I believe these things are weak to Bless and Ice. Actually, no, they use Ice. I've been able to fuse them before, so maybe they are only weak to Bless, and I still have Bless on Yadakarasu. So that's good. I wanted to make sure I did. In fact, something that I don't think I've actually mentioned this before, but Aegon and Korgaon are actually very slightly stronger than the heavy damaging skills of the other elements. I think that's to compensate for them being no severe damaging skill of those elements outside of DLC. But yeah, they do use Ice on you. So I would assume that Ice is not going to work. I can try anyway. Yeah, just neutral. Well, that was useless. In that case, let's just try and get Shock. Actually got it, which means I can just go ahead and, you know what? You have Skillful Technique, as long as this thing isn't immune to Nuke. There we go. Not as much damage as I would have hoped, though. That skyscraper just casually going past. Yeah, they've been doing that this entire time. When did you first start noticing? Yeah, he did talk about cleaning up the mess.
Oh.
Yep, that is the cleaner. And as the people on the deck were talking earlier, and that's in the last video, about a tattooed man, he is also Yakuza. That would explain why he is one of Shido's VIPs. He's the guy that Shido uses to clean up people. I guess when he doesn't want to go to the effort of a mental shutdown. There is actually another reason why there is a Yakuza member upon Shido's ship, though, I feel. But I'll be going into that once we actually fight him, inevitably, because he is one of the targets we need to go after. But they say that the cleaner is very reclusive and doesn't show his face often, so we're not going to be facing him for a little while longer. Okay, King Frost starts showing up here.
The opponent is strong. Don't do anything reckless.
As you'd expect, it's primarily an ice user, but as you might not expect, it's actually not weak to fire. In fact, King Frost has no weaknesses at all. So here, really the best bet is to use ailments. And with Dizzy, I can get technicals off of physical hits.
You did it, Frost.
Serves you right.
Oh, cute. It's happy. Have some fun when you talk.
Yeah,
to
makes
that
sense, this is a happy one. So I love that, like, all of the different voice types of the shadows are stored in the game's data with different names. Like, I think the old man one is called Oyaji. But this one, internally, the one used for, like, Jack Frost, is called, like, voice type _ hee-haw. Did you just get he-hired ho? Yeah, nice to meet ya. Haven't had a negotiation with a hee-ho type enemy in a while, so haven't seen these for a bit. How did I lose to you? I mean, I win when it comes to looks, ho. Go right? No, I do. It's all no, I do. It's all about hard. Either of these could be considered a joking answer, I think. So in that case, I'm going to do warning shot. So, the reason I was waiting for King Frost to show up is a bit of trivia about King Frost's model in this game. It has Jack Frost's inside it. And that might point to this model being an upscaled version of the one in Digital Devil Saga, because the King Frost optional mini-boss in that game had an attack where it summoned Jack Frost out of its chest. So yeah, it's possible that, that this is an upscaled version of that. So that's kind of cool. Also, there is a tiny smiley face on the inside of King Frost's texture that you cannot see under normal circumstances. I don't know why that's there. Maybe that was just a joke by one of the animators. I'm assuming that's the case.
Show me your true form.
Detecting a badass, huh? Well, this thing's not immune to ice, so Yusuke can potentially freeze it. Also, what status did you get out of Chine Hook? Did you not get any status out of Chine Hook?
Maybe try making it sleepy.
It doesn't look like you did. Okay, then, in that case, let's, try and dazzle you. Okay, good. It is successfully dazzled.
This is my other self.
Although, in that case, I'm gonna not take the technical with Yusuke without him charging first. Because Haru's gonna take the tech... She can't, because it's immune to both of her things. These are like a perfect anti-Haru weapon, dang it. In that case, let's give Joker a little bit of insurance against potential death with this. And now I can just Zeo you.
You sure showed me.
Technical, and if there's any time that I would really, really like Raging Temper to activate, it's now.
Let's go.
It's not likely, but it could.
Blend it.
Oh, nice. Unfortunately, it's not immobilized. Rage is at its peak. Tarukaja. Yeah, so far these things haven't actually hit me yet, but I don't want to take that chance. So let's fire my last down shot. In fact, actually no, I already have Kali right now. What am I talking about? So in that case, let's get money. I'll have to look up whether Kali does have a husband in mythology or not, but this one's dying anyway. Hopefully. It's all out attack and better finish it. It did good. Because if it didn't, then we were in serious trouble. I mean, Joker would have been fine, but everyone else probably would have died. Sooty Regalia. Definitely not a legendary weapon from Marth's games. And there we go, Muff Freedine. In the end, though, I often find that I only use one nuke attacking skill on Makoto because she needs to save room for some other things.
Alright.
Since I like giving her Spellmaster via the Jazz Club. Speaking of which, I probably could have held off a couple of days and gone off script on the guide to get Debilitate on Morgana on the 11th, but I've decided, yeah, actually, you know what, I'm I'm just gonna keep following the guide here. So, what's that new whip on Arn? Disciplinary whip. A whip from Shido's disciplinary committee, and it has no effect, so I'm not sure if that's really what I want on her right now. But since I got an alarm, I should probably go back and do what I promised and remake Trumpeter. I'll be right back. And this is kind of silly, but since I have to get rid of this Trumpeter anyway, I'm going to sacrifice this Trumpeter into White Rider so I can make a different Trumpeter.
Then let us begin.
Even if me summoning White Rider from the Compendium during an alarm triggers an accident, it still means that I get ailment boost on at least a persona. I'm gonna need to remember to register White Rider too. Because I would... Oh, Fortify Spirit is pretty good as well. Because I would like to have ailment boost on a fodder persona.
You're stopping? You wish to view
Because
the
when you
compendium.
first
register
create
persona.
a persona in the Velvet Room, like you have that persona for the first time, it's automatically registered. But if you do say something like this, it's not automatically registered. So I'm going to need to remember to do this so that I have ailment boost in the compendium whenever I need to. And it is a guaranteed accident because I just got White Rider of the compendium, so I'm going to have to wait for another alarm. I saved just in case this happened. In that case, let's go Byakko and King Frost, sorry, King Frost only just got you, into Baphomet.
It is neither remarkable nor unremarkable.
And now we know what this thing's elemental affinities are in case we encounter it again. Hint, we will. I hate to give this up, but I like the other skills you got. Oh, okay, so you got all three of the boosters. Burn boost, freeze boost, and shock boost. That's not a bad combination, actually. Also a pretty good amount of magic, too. This seems like a waste, but rather than fuse you away for all those evade skills, I'd rather sacrifice you and get a repel psi skill card.
This will be its now. You shall be reborn.
Oh, actually, I did a few, that other fusion made Trumpeter actually work this time. That's good. Okay then, I actually have Trumpeter back now. No, I need my Aegon, that's kind of the foundation of this entire build. I don't have Dazzler this time, but I kind of want to make this build around Abysmal Surge plus Curse. Plus, also, I kind of need room for Fortify Spirit. Don't need that. Unfortunately, don't want that, but I do want Debilitate. And I can't get Debilitate, because the moment that I try and use the Gallows is going to be an accident.
More forcefully.
However, I could just buff
It
Trumpeter's
seems you are
stats with the
making
Treasure
good use of the
Demon.
alarm.
Let's do
This is
that.
how then let us begin.
I can easily get another Emperor's Amulet.
It seems.
I have something.
Okay, I was gonna say this is sort of more of an NPC type area, then I just noticed that there was a shadow about to attack me. Huh, there must be like less prestigious casinos in other places. Unfortunately, none of these can be. Even the casinos have the United Future Party branding on them. What does that say, Butterfly? Looks like modded Butterfly subdivision. I don't know what it's trying to say there. But could I actually talk to you and not get interrupted by that shadow? Yes. Well, that's how they design it. They want the winning percentage to be around 50, but it's actually like 50.01 to the house, and that usually means that the house gradually makes money. But I already went over that in Sire's Palace video. It is time to unleash the doot-doot. I mean, that was concentrated, but over 800 on everything is pretty solid with that. That's a pretty impressive looking lion statue. I wonder if Shido had that commissioned himself. I wonder if it means anything.
I could have handled that myself.
Could you? I kinda doubt you could have handled that yourself. I mean, normally I wouldn't doubt you, but in that case, that was a lot of enemies, and none of them are weak to ice. Of course, we have a masquerade mask there. Oh, just barely managed to, like, I feel like he was just a millisecond off of actually noticing me there. Or actually she, because it's all female shadows. I haven't done this in a while.
Sometimes you just want to explode.
Victory is ours.
Good work,
I actually have kind of a funny story about using Yusuke and Shido's palace, because during New Game Plus, when I'd done a lot of grinding and I actually had
They didn't stand a chance.
I had Brave Blade on Yusuke at this point, which is like the last skill that he learns. I wanted to test whether Brave Blade is stronger than a Baton Pass boosted. Of course, there was another safe room in here anyway. I feel like this safe room is probably Royal exclusive, but just feels like the kind of thing that would be. But yeah, basically, I had Brave Blade. I wanted to test if a Baton boosted Deadly Fury is stronger or weaker than Brave Blade. Brave Blade after a Baton Pass, I mean, just so that I knew whether or not to recommend dumping Deadly Fury once Yusuke learned Brave Blade. But the thing is, since the critical rate is so high on Brave Blade, it's like 35% base critical rate, and Yusuke was so much higher level than the enemies here, and like your luck compared to the enemy's luck also influences crit rate. I got the damage for Baton Pass Deadly Fury with no crit, so all I needed was a no crit Baton Pass Brave Blade to compare the damage and see which was stronger. Every single time I tried using Brave Blade, Yusuke crit. It took me, I think, about 40 minutes before I got a Brave Blade off of Yusuke that didn't crit. And then I found out that, yep, it turns out that even without critting, Brave Blade is stronger than Baton Pass boosted Deadly Fury. So, unfortunately, Deadly Fury is actually not, doesn't last the whole game. But it took me longer to prove it than I thought. And I need more SP recovery on Joker. Guess it's a good thing that I got all those carrots. Let's eat one of them now.
Okay.
Only 260 SP on Joker. Yeah, the overall SP numbers that party members have in 5 is significantly lower, I feel, than in, not so much 4, but definitely in 3. In 3, party members tended to have a lot of SP at the end of the game.
Go down.
Oh, hey, yeah, this is the group that's all weak to Dark Curse. Yeah, I make that mistake all the time.
Joker, you're looking cool.
Yeah, let's get Barong back. You would have joined my calls automatically regardless, but it's fun when the red text shows up.
You've got a new mask, Joker.
Actually, we've reclaimed an existing mask.
Okay.
I do wish some of these slot machines were playable.
Joker.
And we can't go through there yet, because as always, Shido's Palace is incredibly linear. So that's red, but it's not Kali. Does that mean you're King Frost? It does mean you're King Frost. Both times King Frost got bullet hailed. So another reason why I wanted to wait until King Frost showed up.
There.
I'm in despair! He-Ho is giving me despair!
Doesn't seem to have a weakness. Let's try making it dizzy.
No, actually, it's already in despair, and I'm so sorry, King Frost. I feel really bad for letting you die this way,
One
but
enemy is in despair, so psychokinesis would be a good move.
I want to show this, because I haven't actually shown how this works yet. Because despair automatically kills the target after 3 turns. Sort of like almost Doom status from Final Fantasy in that way. Yeah, there we go, King Frost succumbs. Instant death.
We won. Good work, everyone.
And that affects the Reaper during flu season in vanilla, so that's good for grinding, because the Reaper is worth a massive amount of experience points. Oh yeah, about King Frost. So I'm probably not going to get a chance to talk about this just yet because we're going to be thrust into a cutscene incredibly soon. But I'll just say, essentially,
Hey!
King Frost, the mainline SNT games categorize demons into, like, on a light-dark law-chaos axis, based on where they're, you know, lawful or chaotic, and also based on, like, light and dark is whether or not they're good or evil in their original mythologies. But since King Frost is basically an original Atlas character, I find it hilarious that King Frost is classified as the Tyrant race and therefore Dark Chaos, which means that according to Atlas, King Frost is canonically chaotic evil. Meanwhile, Black Frost is given a neutral race in many of the games, which means that canonically Black Frost is just an edgelord in a phase, whereas King Frost is the real bad guy. I just think that's hilarious.
Isn't the man sitting over there one of them?
He's the president of a TV station, isn't he?
He gives letters of introduction to executives of companies who are willing to sponsor his programs.
That's a difficult condition to meet.
When we were at the TV station, were we potentially helping this guy?
Wanna just beat it out of him?
Let me handle this.
For real? But
I'll allow it. You've got this, Noir. Yes, Senpai.
Morgana's his senpai. Well, that's two people who consider Morgana a senpai, and neither of them are the one he simps for.
A letter of introduction.
But you're so obviously a child.
I'm Haru Okumura, daughter of the president of Okumura Foods. I believe we sponsored you as well.
Oh, you're her.
It's true that I'm quite indebted to President Okumura. He funded us extremely well, after all. However, it looks like he got a little carried away. My condolences.
I guess getting into the political world made him a potential rival of Shido, and he couldn't allow that.
Regarding his exploiting management, Mr. Shido asked me to defend him as much as I could. I even threw some extra security his way, but there were limits to what I could do.
So in other words, you just admitted that you were part of the whole Okumura Foods problem.
The damage almost reached up to Mr. Shido himself. President Okumura had to be cut off.
Ah, okay then. Well, yeah, I guess as horrible as Shido is, he doesn't want to be associated with someone whose abuses were made public, and that's why Okumura had to go.
Cut off.
It seems he didn't just cast him off his ship, but also used him to trap the Phantom Thieves.
So I guess there was probably a cognitive Okumura in this palace, but he got thrown overboard at the same time his real self was killed.
Bravo, Mr. Shido. Truly a nasty maneuver.
Yes, truly nasty. Aren't we so deliciously evil?
Won't you please give me a letter of recommendation?
I love that breath that she does there. It's like Haru is resisting the urge to go ballistic on this guy right now, but she still keeps her cool.
Once our company recovers, I will arrange for us to cooperate with you in a sponsorship role.
You're the daughter of the late president. Do you really have the authority to do that?
Let's not tell him that she just left her shares to the other guy.
Your employees probably resent you.
Well, they used to, but not anymore.
Well, that's not important.
My employees resent me too.
I'm in your father's debt, after all. I can repay some kindness to his daughter.
Thank you. Very much.
But your father truly was a fool.
Well, we almost got this letter of introduction without a fight, but then this guy had to go and say that.
He could have lived a life of luxury if only he'd done what he was told.
You know, I'm the one who broadcast the moment of his mental shutdown.
And that.
Our ratings shot up because of that.
Stop it.
Huh?
How could you talk about my father's death like that?
That's just business. If you like, we can get you in a documentary. Overcoming death to rebuild the family company. You're so cute, you might just get good ratings.
I will not forgive you for that! You had better apologize to my father! Time to save her!
Are you thieves?
Well, yeah, we almost succeeded at getting it without a fight, but, gotta take this guy down on principle. Shadow TV President.
The opponent is strong. Don't do anything reckless.
Now, this guy, I believe, is weak to... Yes, he's weak to ice. And interestingly...
The opponent is strong. Don't do anything reckless.
Now, Garudas in Royal have no weaknesses. But the wiki says these things are weak to electricity. Now, I could be wrong about that, but we'll see how this goes. Okay, then. Oh yeah, I've got Salvation Crown on Joker, but I'm probably not going to need that here. Let's charge up first. Also, I should have a quick Rajanag going into this, but oh well. Ah, interesting. Yeah, there's that reverse rub skill that I talked about way earlier in the game, but didn't actually see an enemy use, I think, until now. But yeah, it refers to rubbing an animal, like petting an animal in the wrong direction of their fur and making them angry. But okay. Yeah, these things are actually weak to electricity. And I can check this after the fight, but I believe that Garuda is actually weak to electricity in the vanilla game, so maybe they just forgot to change the weakness on these particular things. But as always, I am going to go ahead and I can't even baton pass over to Yusuke, but I am concentrated on Joker and I can baton pass him. Probably would have been better to go to Haru though, but oh well. I do have Curse Boost on Maega on, but Yadagarasu I think with Nuke Boost Freydine might be stronger. Oh, also I got Wind Out Magarudine as well, but yeah, the Garuda's null bad. As I expected. Yeah, I'll go for Maegon. And there go the Garudas. Okay, Haru. Well, what a time demo one-shot kill for the first time, and yet there's the crit. One-shot kill does crit very often. We don't actually have this up, thanks to me not using the right persona going in, so let's put this up and show just how good Ryuji is in boss fights now.
Here I go.
Yeah, in general, Ryuji's better for boss fights than he is for normal enemies, although he's good for normal enemies too due to shock. But his skill set of Mataru Kaja and Charge, in particular, is just a very good boss-killing combo. I don't even think I'm gonna need to, charge again, so let's just go for the cheaper Freydine on this guy's face.
Damn it.
Swift Strike!
I'm not done. Skull fell down.
Well, thankfully that's been nerfed.
Nice, Joker.
Yeah, he likes to use multi-hit skills. However, if I get you... Oh, I don't know if Haru's going to be able to finish this. I hope she would be able to, but I don't know. Also, it'd be kind of great to get Haru's, like, all-out attack finisher here.
Can't run from me. Everyone's counting on you.
Or I could do this.
It's showtime. Pardon me. Okay. Ready for pain? Save room for Let's end this. Okay. Here it comes. Double death blow. How was that?
Okay, yeah, that was a fitting way to finish things. Oh, only one person leveled up from that.
Okay, we have the letter of introduction. I assume part of the media, you have knowledge about quite a few important topics.
By the way, that beatdown in that wrestling ring was broadcast all around the world.
We will not take your life as long as you share the knowledge that you've kept from the public.
Remember that Kaneshiro guy? The one from the Mafia who ended up on the news a while back? Well, the money he was gathering all went to Shido-san.
Shido and Kaneshiro were connected?
Indeed. As well as that old man Madarame. His counterfeit business, along with Kaneshiro's Mafia, aided Shido-san quite a lot financially.
I understand now.
Hey, you were forcing the news to be about Akechi and Shido all the time, right? I'm sick of him. Wait, this guy's not a real person. Telling him ain't gonna do shit for us.
Yeah, I love Ryuji noticing that.
Come on, we have to take down Shido himself.
And as always, flashback to the real Shido.
I would never have imagined that their leader would commit suicide.
Or not. Instead, we have this talk show with viruses everywhere.
Akechi-kun, did you anticipate this curious turn of events?
Oh, certainly not to this extent.
Akechi's gonna get sick.
But it is important to note that he was the mastermind behind the recent commotion. Getting captured must have wounded his pride irreparably. Such things happen often to insurgent leaders.
According to the police, the whereabouts of the other members are still currently unknown. Considering they no longer require testimony from the leader, the investigation will be hard to...
May I butt in for a second?
Of course.
The Phantom Thieves may have laid low since then, but they must not be excused. I don't care if they come after me. For the victims of their evil deeds and for their families. I will capture the remaining Phantom Thieves, no matter what. My apologies. I didn't mean to get so worked up.
No wonder they call you an ace detective of justice. What passion! How about we use this opportunity to poll the audience? Those who believe the detective of justice will annihilate the Phantom Thieves. Press your buttons now!
And that's not a loaded question at all.
My, everyone in the audience agrees. Looks like you can't back down now.
I will do the best I can. Oh, but I do have to study for my college entrance exams. I might not be able to promise that.
You know, given the way that this TV executive works, I'm guessing this entire audience are all just plants. They're all just people who are in on Shido's conspiracy.
None of these people know that I was an undesirable child. I wanted people to rely on me. I wanted to be needed. I devoted myself to my studies, acted as an honor student, and made my name as an ace detective. And thanks to the Nav app, and the persona bestowed upon me by the gods, I managed to dispose of any who got in my way, though it took me some time to finally do so. All that remains is to tell him.
But still, wasn't their leader's suicide a letdown for you, given how long it took to apprehend him? I think if it were me, I would have collapsed from the shock.
True. It did make me feel somewhat dizzy. Just a little, though. Perhaps my mind was worked up due to the major task I had undertaken.
Hey, who is that? If you don't turn off your phone, the Phantom Thieves might change your heart.
A phone?
See? Even Akechi-kun's face is stiffened up.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm not bothered. Just make sure to turn it off when you go to the movies.
He's catching on. That means we have to be fast. 2 left, IT president and the cleaner. Of course, there's still a shadow down here, which I should probably take out, although first I definitely need to heal. Don't think I've even used Medea Rahan with Morgana yet. But yeah, we just found out that Kaneshiro and Madarame were part of the conspiracy. And I told you I'd be able to get another Emperor's Amulet.
Victory is ours.
I think I'll keep this current party since I haven't used it very much against regular shadows, mostly against mini-bosses and bosses.
Okay.
But all of this is leading me into something that I've wanted to talk about for a while now, and that is the topic of Shido as a villain. Now, I really hate to drag things down right as the story is reaching its climax, but we need to talk about how Shido, in most of the fandom, isn't exactly a well-received villain.
Well,
And I'd like to talk about just some theories as to why that might be. After we get this conversation, though.
what are your thoughts?
So, like Kamoshida, Shido is pretty much a purely evil villain with no real depth and no redeeming qualities. However, people really like Kamoshida. He's a very popular villain, entirely because he's a complete scumbag with no redeeming qualities. So, what's the difference? What does Kamoshida have that Shido doesn't? That's something that I've been thinking about for a long time. And I feel like Kamoshida... Okay, firstly, Kamoshida has a much more personal connection to the party and the Phantom Thieves, because your first impression of Kamoshida, you directly see him threatening Joker and Ryuji with death just for barging into his palace. Then you directly see him lecherously going after Arn. You find out about his physical abuse. You're pretty much directly involved in all of that. He threatens to expel Joker and Ryuji directly. You get involved with Arn, and then, his whole sexual assault with Shiho goes down just after you've come to know Arn and Shiho. You have a very personal connection to him, and a lot of desire to see him taken down. Like, Kamoshida, it's interesting. So, one reason why a lot of people think that, one reason that some, love to hate villains can work is if they're fun to watch. Like, they might not be tragic or sympathetic or make the audience really think all that much, but at least they can be fun and entertaining to watch. Now, I wouldn't exactly say Kamoshida's fun to watch. He's obviously a lot more painful to watch him go about. But at the same time, Kamoshida is somebody who you really, really like. Kamoshida is, and this is something that I think is a trait that a lot of Ace Attorney villains have as well. Kamoshida is a villain that you really, really can't wait to see lose. You want Kamoshida to pay for everything he's done. And yeah, of course, Shido's done an awful lot too, and you probably should feel the same thing about Shido as well.
That Shadow's no happy camper.
But why doesn't Shido quite give off the same impression? Well, firstly, even though he was the one who put Joker on probation, who falsely accused him, that happened in the past. And even though Shido's been responsible for a lot of deaths, none of that... Is this a straightforward enough? Nope, okay then. Be kind to your elders, okay then. Has no one ever taught you that? Irritable, so you prefer straightforward answers. Someone did once, I don't care, I don't want to grow old. What happens if I warning shot now? Okay, good, I actually do recruit you. This Shadow is completely new to Royal, by the way, Artifaca. Not only is it a new enemy, but it wasn't even in the vanilla game at all. I think it had unused data. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. So, yeah, that happened in the past, and while Shido has been responsible for a lot of deaths and a lot of, horrific abuse in this game's backstory, and the fact that, he pretty much, controls the media, controls the police, he's wanting to become Prime Minister. This guy is obviously, a huge, huge presence. And you should really, really want to take this guy down. But for some reason, despite all of that, he comes across as kind of a lame villain. And part of the reason why, I think, is that you barely even interact with Shido, and, like, the few things Shido does to you directly, like, in the story, it's just being rude to you in the buffet that one time, and then you just bumping into him in LeBlanc. It just doesn't feel particularly dramatic or personal. Like, as big of a deal as Shido is, and as many people as he's hurt, because you never really directly see him hurting people really close to the main characters, I guess it's just hard for the game to really sell that, and to sort of sell his menace and threat that way. But on another note, there's also the fact that, and okay, so here's something that I also think is, that makes Shido a little weak as a villain.
It's locked from the other side.
The SIU director.
No choice but to go.
I have not had a chance to say this before, but I really do not like the SIU director as a character, because really, to me, he only exists to be a mouthpiece for Shido without actually being Shido. Okay, this guy being the opposite of Titania would mean that he's weak to Nuke. And yeah, we're facing a lot of high-level shadows now, so I probably should temporarily stop my tangent to talk about them. I love this guy's title, by the way, Unfaithful Dream King. That just kind of summarizes Oberon so well. Although, in the Midsummer Night's Dream, he actually forced Titania to be unfaithful to him, but anyway. Why don't I overlook this? Let's make a deal. Again, irritable. So how about alright? Yeah, again, straightforward answers. Supposed to be an easy job, just threatening intruders. Never accept this task if I knew it would involve this sort of suffering. That's a pity. Uninformed choices are bad. Complaining won't help. Warning shot. Yeah, I'm not sure which of those. Oh, actually, no. Warning shot didn't work that time. Well, there's high counter working. But I just get to... Actually, I should have switched to Yatagarasu. Okay, Oberon negotiation take 2.
This one's got a temper. Just act really serious. It should appreciate that.
Oh, exactly the same line. Oh, it's the same thing. Okay. I wonder if that's considered straightforward. Oh, no angry. Right, then.
No sudden movements.
Well, we're getting one of these for the first time. That's cool. And this just gives you another question. How does it feel to wave your gun at an enemy who's completely lost the will to fight? It's not bad. I could get used to it. It pains my heart. My original gut instinct said this, but now I'm thinking this. I'll go with my original gut instincts. And I was right. Good.
I see.
Wait, you didn't like when we had a sadistic side before, but you like that now. Then again, you know, Archfey have weird morality, so it makes sense. Oberon pretty much is an Archfey. In fact, he's probably the inspiration for D&D Archfey, honestly, him and Titania. Yeah, they even in Midsummer Night's Dream, they've got a very strange sense of morality, just like Archfey in D&D usually.
This door is locked. It can't be helped. We'll have to find
So
a way
here
around.
we're going to have to do some mouse action in the middle of the corridors, even though this area is a little smaller than the last one. But I was saying about Shido... Oh yeah, the SIU director. So yeah, the SIU director really is, in overall, just kind of a pointless villain. He mostly exists, like I was saying, so just to be a mouthpiece for Shido without directly spoiling for the player that Shido is the big bad. But it's... at least to me, it's incredibly obvious that Shido is the big bad behind everything. It's just, it couldn't have been anyone else but him, and that's why I feel like, I personally think the plot and Shido's impact on the plot could have been better if, instead of the SIU director, you simply saw, yeah, that was almost terrible. Let's just quickly unmouse ourselves and unlock this door. If you actually, like, instead of the SIU director, Shido was replacing him in those scenes. Like, you got to directly see Shido, like, go on about his evil plans, even though the Phantom Thieves don't know it's him yet. Like, again, they were trying to make it a twist that Shido was the bad guy, but he was so obvious, I feel like it could have been... things could have worked better if they didn't even try to hide it. Like, that's what I personally feel. And maybe it would have given Shido a little bit more time, because, like, now we get these Meanwhile in Villain Land scenes with Shido. We get to see him, you know, talking to all of the people in this conspiracy, and we get to see, like, Akechi, because, like, that's the thing. This dungeon tries to flesh out, like, Shido, like, as being, like, Shido's conspiracy. It tries to show, like, him talking to, like, the politician and, like, the noble and all those people, and just give a little bit of, just a little bit of background on exactly, like, all the work he's done, over the course of his plotting. But it feels like you're really just getting to see his minions and not the big bad himself. Shido himself, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but Shadow Shido never directly confronts you in the palace, and I think that might be another reason why he comes across as weak as he does. Because, like, even Kamoshida, you get to see him in the palace. Madarame directly confronts you. Heck, even Kaneshiro. Kaneshiro, often considered the worst of this game's villains. I actually think Kaneshiro does a better job of establishing himself as a love-to-hate villain than Shido does. Because at least you get to see him at the start of his palace gloating about how he might, you know, sell Makoto's sister into sex slavery as revenge. Like, that alone is a threat that, that Shido never really gets.
There's a strong one. What should we do, Joker?
Show me your true form.
Am I allowed to negotiate with you if you're in despair? Oh, accuse you. Okay, then.
Oh, it's better now. Don't let your guard down.
I'm sorry I made you depressed. Now join my party and I'll use you as fusion fodder. I'm sorry. Wow, yeah, despair status just makes you feel cruel, but I mean... Well, I mean, I would say that these are Shido's guards, but at the same time, like I made the joke in Kamoshida's Palace, like, these shadows just kind of wandered in here. They're not really willingly even working for Shido. So we're kind of helping them by recruiting them to our side. Reader Shower, do I have room for this on my sets? I said I was going to go for more of a gun-based, psi-based build. And in that case... honestly, I'd rather use items for Reader Shower. Although, once I get my Psyodome, that's really all I need as far as Psi skills go, especially if I'm keeping Psi Break. And there is a mouse light here. Before that, let's explore the other hallway, because there's another will seed around here.
There's a strong one.
What
What should we do, Joker?
Yeah, Kali can show up as both a SWAT team shadow and a normal guard shadow. So wait, you attack when your fury is not at your peak, but when your fury is at your peak, you don't do anything. Oh, I have free escape with Hifumi's Confidant. What am I thinking? I thought I had like an item that would let me run away, but I guess I'm thinking of smoke bombs in trails. Yeah, that's going to cost me a little bit of security meter, but I don't really want to deal with Kali right now. And yeah, that's locked. So we do, I believe, need a mouse light in order to progress here.
I'll reveal your true form. Okay.
The thing about Shido, though, like, never really directly interacting with the protagonist, see, I have a counter-argument to that. And that is that one of my favorite love-to-hate villains in all video games is Ashnard from Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. Ashnard is pretty much a purely evil villain without much in the way of redeeming qualities. I think I'm just gonna have to run from this thing again. Okay, that was completely pointless because it just respawned and I went the wrong way, but I at least got to show the animation where it does that, like, ducka gunfire, which is pretty cool. The actual gunfire itself doesn't really do anything, but it's just there for flavor, but it's kind of cool looking. It really does show that, like, the shadows here are no longer messing around. It reminds me a lot of one of the later levels of Spyro 1, where the enemies start breaking out like heavy Gatling guns. It's like the last level before the final boss in Spyro 1. The final boss of Spyro 1 is coincidentally fairly pathetic, just like Shido is as a villain, but yeah, it just really sells that you're in the endgame, the fact that the enemies are breaking out heavy weapons like that. But yeah, Ashnard. So, Ashnard never even directly meets Ike until just before the final battle. And yet, I still think that he's a good villain, and a really memorable villain. And I think it's because Ashnard, while Ike never really directly meets him, the player gets to see Ashnard in cutscenes all throughout the game. And also Ashnard, like, I would also say that, like, Ashnard started the war that the protagonists are trying to stop, and, like, at the same time, I mean, you know, Shido is responsible for, like, almost all of the bad things that have happened in this game so far, so it's kind of the same thing, but it's also kind of not, because, like, again, despite the fact that Shido is responsible for all of this awful stuff, very little of it directly affects the Phantom Thieves until, like, Okumura dies. And so somehow it just doesn't feel like the story plays him as this huge mastermind who is behind everything, but it's just, you don't really feel that. And it's a hard feeling for me to really describe. Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to kill this Kali because it's getting a little ridiculous having to run from it over and over.
This is my other self.
Double Deadly Fury. Oh, nice, it actually finishes it. We are getting a little bit stronger. Like, they were a bit tougher to take out before that.
With this power,
I actually am at the right level to fuse a couple of my personas into Lilith now, I just realized. And Lilith's got a pretty solid magic stat. And through here, you might notice though from the map that the central room is now mouseified. Here I can unlock this, but we've got to be careful when we're back in here. And this should enable, okay, I think I know where they're going with this. We're supposed to find a crawl space that we can go through to get past that first locked door. However, there is still a balcony here that I haven't been onto yet, so I'll need to remember not to forget that. Or, you know, remember to remember. It almost looks like these vents should hurt you, but they don't. Like the steam coming out of them. My final thing that I want to talk about regarding my Shido tangent is... not even tangent, it's pretty relevant here. My Shido topic is this. I used to wonder if Shido was better received in Japan, because I feel like having a villain being a modern-day politician is fairly novel for a lot of Japanese media. Like, I feel like a lot of Japanese media doesn't really criticize modern-day politicians that much. Like, oftentimes, if there is a corrupt politician, they'll be in a period drama, or, like, they'll be in medieval times. And Shido is one of the few, like, I feel like to Westerners, especially Americans, Shido is pretty much every single evil president cliche in American media. But yeah, I always thought that that Shido as a villain might have been a bit more novel to a Japanese audience. But then I decided to try Google searching Japanese Google for Masayoshi Shido's Japanese name. And I found a forum where Japanese fans said that they thought that Shido was kind of a lame villain after all the build-up, and they wished that he had a bigger impact. Essentially, Japanese fans had exactly the same opinion on Shido that Western fans did, so yeah, it really must just be something about the way he's written. The Google, like, I just did a quick Google Translate of the forum, but the topic title was, Shido should have had a bigger feeling. And I think that sums it up quite well. Oh, okay, yes, there is a grapple point here. I was worried that I'd miss something, but no, it was all fine. This may have been a longer part, but I definitely wanted to get my thoughts out there on Shido, and what I felt about him as a villain, because like, he could have been something really, really special. He really should have been the kind of guy that you just love to hate and want to see take down like Kamoshida, and he kind of is, but in the end, he just doesn't quite come across as strongly, and I'm not the only one who feels like that. Kamoshida is definitely a way more popular villain than Shido is. And with that, we're in the side deck, and we also have a safe room here. So I'm going to go ahead and save.
We found a new safe room.
And then I will leave you. So I'll see you all next time for a little bit of a different portion of this power